The power of circumcision. That was the one video that many of you saw for quite a while. And it stuck out because a lot of people, and I didn't know this at the time, are anti-circumcision and want circumcision abolished. I just wanted to point out that circumcision is a commandment of God and has wonderful properties, not just that are beneficial physically, but beneficial spiritually. And I talked about it at length, got into a lot of arguments with a lot of wonderful people, and some not so wonderful people. But here we are almost 3 years later. On August 27th, the American Association for Pediatrics revises its position regarding circumcision and told you exactly what I've been telling you in these videos for almost 3 years. That the studies, the vast majority of the studies, show a significant benefit to children, for children who are circumcised, than children who aren't circumcised. The vast majority of studies show that. And the difference is significant. And we're talking possibly the health and benefit of tens, if not hundreds of millions of people, almost immediately, if they were to circumcise, would have less urinary tract infections, less human pap infections, less AIDS, less cancer, and the risks are minimal. And the benefits far outweigh the risks and make it the kind of thing that the government should pay for. They revised their position. Why did they revise their position? Because some people are honest. Not all people. Not Mr. Tin Woodsman out there. Not some of you other Ultra Brights, Kleenex 300 and so on and so forth. You guys are prejudiced. You guys have made up your minds. And no matter what I say, they'll make a difference. You've already made up your minds. The evidence is clear. I've looked at the evidence. I've been honest with you. The reason why we do it is because God said so. However, I asserted in my first video that if God said so, then there must be a benefit physically for that commandment. And indeed there is. There are tremendous benefits for those who circumcise. But that's not the reason why we Jews circumcise, because God said so in the Bible. But what do you say now? What do you say now to the American Association for Pediatrics that they revised their position? Well, you're going to yell that they have become influenced by rabbis. Rabbis have taken over this once exalted bastion of science. That's above a Misa. But that's what you guys will be saying. Because it has nothing to do with truth. It has to do with your desires. You don't want anyone telling you what to do. And therefore, if there is something that comes from religion, which may be coming from God, and may be telling you you got to do this, you reject that. Because you don't want to be told what to do. You want to do what you want to do. You will do what you want to do. Nobody else is going to tell you any different. Maybe there is a God who's told us what we need to do and told us what you should do. Now, the commandment for circumcision is only for Jewish people and for the descendants of Abraham, among the Arabs and Mideastern peoples. They are obligated to circumcise their children. By the way, the obligation for circumcising children for the bulk of the descendants of Abraham, is to be done on the 8th day, just as Jews do. It is only those who descend from Yishmael that do so when they are 13, because that's when Yishmael did it. The fact that the Arabs had that tradition doesn't make it right for the rest of the Muslim world to circumcise at 13. They should do it at 8 days. But they're not going to listen to some old rabbi. But I'm saying it with the authority of Rabbi Musa Ibn Maimon, also known as Maimonides or Rambam among Jews, that this is a commandment for all B'nai Keturah, for most of the so-called Arab world, that they should circumcise at 8 days old. And therefore, if you listen to me, you'll circumcise your children at 8 days instead of waiting till they're 13. They'll be less violent, and they will have less pain and suffering, and there will be less injuries and disease as a result.